Caring Arts Foundation. Caring Arts brings the healing power of the arts to cancer patients and their families in the Chicago community. I have a great project for you today. It's really easy. It's tissue paper mosaics. Here's one that I made recently. I've done this project with children, with patients in the infusion area, with people sitting in a waiting room. Really, this is something you can do almost any place and any age, and it's fun and it's easy, and I'm going to show you how to do it today. The couple things you need are some cardstock. You will need some Elmer's glue. You will also need some tissue paper, and it comes in a variety of styles. You want colored tissue paper. You can buy it at a party store or probably a craft shop. Large sheets of paper like this comes in many different colors, and you can cut or tear that up into small sizes. I've also discovered on Amazon you can order pre-cut tissue paper. It comes in 1-inch size, or it comes in this 2-inch size, which is what I'm going to use today, and it comes in a big pack with a lot of different colors, so you can use that. You also may need a pencil. You may not need a pencil if you're not going to draw your own design, and I'll show you how to find designs. You'll also need a Sharpie marker, and it's helpful to have a stick of some kind. These are basic coffee stirrers. You could use the end of a pencil, the end of a brush. You can use almost anything, and they're not critical, but I find they help keep glue off your fingers, so I like to use those. Now, as to a design, you can draw your own design, and I started one here. I don't know how well you can see that. I started to sketch something out on white cardstock with a pencil, or you can actually find designs online. It's really easy. All you want to do is search of stained glass designs, and you'll find all kinds of them on the internet, and then you can just print them out on white cardstock and you'll be ready to go. And you can see there's different weights of rules on these. Some are very thin, some are thick. It doesn't really matter. Any of them will work, and I'll show you how you can adapt those as well. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is either create or choose a design. Now you want to keep your designs kind of simple, and you want them to sort of look like stained glass. I started to create a design here, sketching it out in pencil. I don't really worry too much about rulers and things like that. You can if you want very straight lines. I don't really care about straight lines. I think wavy lines are kind of more interesting. So if I was just going to continue on, I would just keep drawing my pencil lines, and you can erase things as you want to until you get it to look the way you want it to look. And then what you're going to do is take a black Sharpie marker and draw over all those lines so they're nice and black. Now you can make them as thick or as thin as you want. As I said, I don't really worry too much about having perfect lines. And especially in this project, it doesn't really matter. But once you get your design sketched out with pencil, you want to go over the whole thing with the Sharpie marker, and then you'll have a design ready to create. Now, the other option, if you don't want to create your own designs, is you can download designs from the internet. And I have a number that I downloaded here. You just do a search on coloring pages. You can find all kinds of free coloring pages on the internet. And I searched for stained glass coloring pages, and I found all these different designs. And you can see some of them have very fat black lines. Some of them are very thin. It really doesn't matter. Any of these will work fine with this technique I'm going to show you. For myself, like fat black lines. And this is the one I think I'm going to work on today. And the image wasn't very large, and when I made it large enough to fit on the paper, the lines were soft, kind of pixelated. So I just went over all of them with this Sharpie marker and made them nice and black. Just like that. They don't have to be perfect. And then I also like to get rid of any tiny little cracks by filling them in with black. You see these little crevices that are created when two lines meet each other. I just fill those in, just sort of round them off, and it just makes it easier so that you don't have to get tissue paper into those tiny little spaces. But you can really do this however you want. So I'm going to finish blacking in this one line that's kind of gray. That's really the problem. It's not that it's wavy, that it's just not very black. So as I said, I'm using these 2-inch pre-cut pieces of tissue paper that I found on Amazon. But you can use big sheets of tissue paper as well and just cut them down to 1-inch or 2-inch sizes, or you can even rip them because they don't need to be perfect by any means. And I kind of chose a color palette here of different colors I might use. I sort of like to keep the colors separated. It's almost like using a tissue paper as paint in a way. But none of that is necessary. You can just make things up as you go. So I'm going to open my tube of glue, and you start by choosing an area that you want to put your tissue paper in, and you just sort of squeeze out the glue and fill in that space right there. I think I'm going to put yellow in that. That's the stamen for this calla lily that I have. And so there's a variety of different ways you can do this. If you want to rip the paper and make it close to the size and then just kind of lay it on there, you can do that and then just sort of smush it in. I actually tend to crinkle it up first and put it down, and then I don't leave mine flat, but you can do that. I like, this is where these little sticks come in, and this is a little coffee stirrer. I just use that to push it into all the spaces. So I'm filling up that entire space. It's sort of three-dimensional, and then I'm just going to mash it down, just like that. And it becomes kind of three-dimensional. And it looks kind of like crushed tiles, like you would make a mosaic with. So, and then you just let that dry. Now you can make each area of one color, so you can decide this area is going to be purple, this one's going to be pink, whatever you want to do. I actually like to mix colors together, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to do this space right here, fill it up with my glue, and the glue will stay there for, 10 minutes or so, so you don't have to work too quickly. But I'll show you how I'm going to mix colors together. So I'm going to actually take a piece of the yellow that I already used, and like I said, I like to sort of mash them together, and then just kind of mash it into the space. And then I use my coffee stirrer. You can use the end of a brush or whatever you want to push it into place so I can fill up the space, and then I kind of mash it down just like that. And you can see this is one of those little spaces I was talking about, filling in with your Sharpie marker. It's really hard, if you can see that tiny little space, to fill that in with tissue paper, so I will just take a Sharpie marker and blacken that in. But anyway, you use your coffee stirrer and continue to push it in place. Now I could add another piece of yellow if I wanted and make this whole piece yellow, but instead I'm going to take a piece of orange and I'm going to smash it up and put orange into the space and kind of mix it with the yellow. And it just becomes more interesting to do that. I'm going to push that down and just fill up little space. You can move it around. If you need to add more glue, because you've got pieces that are sticking up and not glued down, you can just actually pour some glue onto it. The glue will soak into the paper, and it will eventually dry and move on to the next space. And you just keep going until all your spaces are filled. And then I'm going to show you something interesting you can do at the very end. But that's as simple as this project is, just like that. So I'm filling in this entire central area inside the circle. You can leave the outer area white if you like, or on this one that I created previously, I took crayons and I colored in a sky just by coloring with crayons over the whole thing. And in some spaces, I left the white so it looked like clouds. I added a little bit of yellow here and there. That's an additional thing you can do. You can use watercolor if you like to fill in the background. And you can see on this one, this is another one where I used the technique of mixing colors. In some places, I used one solid color overall, but for the leaves and for the flower, I mixed here a light pink and a dark pink. And for the leaves, I mixed a light green and a darker green together. In some cases, I even used 3 different colors of greens. And then you have a beautiful piece of art, and it's so easy.